Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about here is the bearish scenarios, where we could actually be setting up for continuation to the downside. Now, this would be looking at this either as a bigger W and X and looking for a Y wave, which could look to potentially still push us down towards this 24,110 if we face rejection within this zone of this 29,780 to this 28,270 area. The alternative way that we're looking at this on the medium term here is as an additional X wave here, and looking for this as an additional Z wave. So what we were talking about is a couple of things. This 0.618, we've come past it. Now we're also looking that we could potentially come up higher here. One to one of the previous X wave is this 29,538. We do have this cluster of the 786 and the 854 up here right within this yellow target zone that we were discussing previously, so I would be keeping an eye on this area as well. Now, the way that we were talking about this move potentially coming up in this way would actually be looking at this as either a W and X and a Y, in which case what we were talking about was this being a W, this being the X, and looking for this Y wave. Now, this Y wave has come up here towards this 1382 already, so this could potentially be done. However, it is also possible we could argue that we have a little bit more to come here to the upside, where this becomes WXY, but we actually look to push towards this 1.618. Now, the problem is that within these internals here, we do have the potential for this to be turning into an impulse, so we need to be careful of that. We don't have the completed waves yet, but what we could have within here is just A, B, C, because we don't have, you know, the additional fourths and fifths needed to make a completed 5-wave sequence. So what I'm looking for here is that if this is just a corrective move here, where this is W, X, and a Y, potentially we could have been completed. Now, the reason why I'm saying that we could be completed is because we already came up to this 1618. If we're looking at this in this way, where we're treating this as an A wave, this as a B wave, and then this as a C wave to the upside. Now, that 1618 is up here at this 283828 region. So the problem is what we have here is we do have 5-wave moves within here. So because of that fact, we need to be just cautious that we don't have additional extension. Now, the other way we're talking about this move playing out was if this isn't a WX and a Y, what we could actually see is an A, B, and then this actually becomes a C wave. Now, within this count, we could also see something like this, where this becomes A, this becomes B, and C, where we're actually getting a more complex move here. So we need to just be aware of this, because what we can also do is we can count this move to the downside as 1, 2, 3, triangle 4, 5th, in which case this whole move here could be an A wave. We could be looking to form this B wave still, and then we look to break down. So we need to just be a bit cautious with how we're counting this at the moment. There are a few potentials here. Now, I was talking about coming back into this channel line. This channel line is sitting up here towards this zone of this 28,595. Because of that fact that we haven't actually interacted with it, it is possible that we could see this play out. Now, we were talking about coming up here into this zone of this weekly naked point of control. We've taken that out, so I'm actually going to get rid of that off the chart now. Now, what we'll be looking for here is actually seeing whether we reject off of this high and we actually have a swing failure. If we swing fail off of this and we continue to reject to the downside, this could actually indicate a completed move here, and we would have to move down towards this zone here of this 26,932 for me to invalidate the count of a 5-wave move. Now, if this is actually an A, B, and a C as a flat correction, what we were talking about is a couple of things here. We were talking about the potential that we were seeing a 5-wave move. So we were talking about this. We were saying if we did move up past this 27,990, we could actually have a 5-wave sequence within here. Now, there's a couple of ways of counting this as well. What we could argue within this is that we have an extension in a 5th wave here of the 3rd wave, where this becomes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, in which case this yellow 3rd wave is completed. We're looking for a 4th wave to the downside, looking to hold support here at this 27,987 to this 27,482. Failure to hold this 27,482 would make this count less probable. So what we're looking for here is basically a 3-wave move to the downside here, looking for this move to complete and then pushing up again for a 5th wave. So this 5th wave could actually look to take us up as high as this 28,913 to this 28,624. So this would be looking at this as a 5-wave sequence to come off the back of this move. However, if we don't if we don't form this fourth wave, then we just have a three-wave move to the upside where this is ABC, and that ties into that WXY. So it's going to be crucial if we're looking for continuation to hold this 27,482. If we do hold it and we do push up one more time for this yellow fifth wave here, what I would then be looking for would be the potential that we would have an additional fourth and a fifth here. So this would mean that this white count would come into play. This would be where the previous fifth wave completes. We'd see an additional fourth wave and a fifth wave up here towards this 29,320 to this 28,957. So this would be our end target if we are looking to extend out as a impulse here. Obviously, there is always potential that within these waves it's still extending out in a bigger way, and we will go over that more bullish scenario in a second. But what we're going to be talking about here is there is also the potential that we can count this in this way, where this becomes 1 2 1 2 1 2, and we're actually extending within the third wave of this count. Now if this is the case, what this would mean is that we'd actually get two additional fourths and fifths to play out, and this would mean that we are actually looking at this as 1 2 3, looking for this as a fourth wave and a fifth wave up. Now the key difference within this is that this invalidation is higher up here towards this 27,283. If we do hold this zone where we form this as an ABC and we maintain above this 27,765, potentially what we can then see is a five-wave move. So we're going to have to watch this. If we just get, a five-wave move up here, we find support again and another five-wave move, that is the zone we could actually potentially look to complete. Even after this single five-wave move to the upside, we're going to have to see whether we get that support come in towards this previous fourth wave. If that fails to come in, we still can't rule out the idea that this is just an A, a B, and a C, because we don't have all the waves yet. So it's going to be important that we are a bit patient with this one and we see these fourth waves confirm. Failure to confirm these would mean that we could still just have a three-wave move here, or potentially what we could do is argue that we have 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then it looks to complete as a flat correction and then looks to potentially break down one more time. Now the bullish standpoint here would be looking for this move to hold this low. So if we do hold this low of this 25,877, what we could still see here is the potential that this could become a A wave, this could become a B wave, and then we look for that C wave to the upside. So we're going to have to see whether we can actually maintain this, whether we do get good five-wave structure play out here. If we do get this sequence complete, what we could then see is a three-wave move to the downside and then looking for potential to continue to the upside. Now, this would tie into that higher time frame count that we were talking about in previous videos, where we're looking at this potentially as a completed wave 1 up into this high, or an A wave, this as an A, B, and a C. Now, if this is 1 2 3 4 5, what this would mean is that this move to the upside is actually starting our next sequence here. So some targets for this would be the 1-to-1 here towards this 38,940, if that is the case where this is an A, B, and a C. Alternatively, if it wants to become a bigger third wave, we'd have to get a much bigger move up here towards this 51,778 region. That would be where we'd be looking for our third wave to confirm this. Then we'd need to see an additional fourth and a fifth, and then that would tie into this bigger third wave being completed up here towards the 61,798 to this 55,388 region, before looking for an additional fourth and a fifth wave, which could look to actually push us up towards this zone here of this 74,000 to this 63,773 zone. So this would be looking at this as a bigger extending move here, looking to actually come back into these higher levels. Now, we also talked about the potential of a flat correction within this zone, so we need to just be cautious of that. It is still technically possible that we could see this play out as an A, a B, and then this whole move is still a flat here. So we're going to have to just be a bit patient with this one, because if we do start to push up higher here, our rejection zone we're looking for with this as a bigger flat from further back here was this 30,673 to this 29,451. So that was looking at this as an expanding flat here. Now, if this is a running flat, what we could see is this 28,720. Now, the problem that I have with this, looking at this lower level here, is that if we throw on the the count that we'd be using here for looking at this as a bigger flat here, we have this as a 1-2. So this third wave would typically move up here towards this 1.618, which is already higher than this level. So that truncation in that C wave becomes less probable. If we do stall out over here, it becomes more probable that we've got this as a corrective structure in between this as an A, a B, and a C, or potentially a W, an X, and a Y. So we'd have to just be cautious. You know, if we do stall out within this zone, we could still see some lower prices coming in here. But really, as long as we actually hold this low here of this 25,885, what we could see is continuation to the upside. So we're going to have to monitor this 5-wave structure to see whether it continues to develop good waves within here. Otherwise, we could see this start to break down. If we get one more push to the upside, reject to the downside here and take this low, this would confirm that we have a flat correction here, which would mean that we're looking for that WXY. Now we do have some key levels below us. We have these naked points of control, which we could look to come back down here and actually retest. The thing is, if we are going to do that, I would say it would be likely, if we were following the bullish count, that it would come after completing these 4ths and 5ths, come back down, retest this zone, potentially come back into this bottom channel line again, and then look to actually move away. If we're following that bearish scenario, what this could mean is that, you know, we complete this additional 5th wave up here, look to break down and actually come through these levels again. Now, if we do this, what we would be looking for is that Z-wave targets. We were discussing this speed fan. What we were talking about is that if we faced rejection off of here, we could be looking to break down, but we actually moved through these levels and we came through this orange line even, and we came pretty much up towards this gray line. Now, what I want to see here is whether price action can find support above this line here. If it does, this could tie in with that idea of seeing this continuation up here, and we could actually see these 4ths and 5ths bounce between these two lines here if we're going to see this play out in this way. So I would be keeping an eye on this. If we start to lose this this orange line here, obviously we do have this blue line which is below us towards these peaks, which will be an interesting zone as a retest, to be honest with you, towards this level of this 27,495. So that would be quite an interesting level for a few reasons. We're going to go over that now. Within this, if we did look to break down, that could be a potential target we look to test out. Looking at the range profile for this entire range here, we can see that we've actually come up into this point of control. Now we do have a value area high, which is still sitting here towards the zone of the top of this channel. So a move up there wouldn't surprise me. Alternatively, you know, if we do look to retrace here, we can see that there is quite a lot of volume that's been traded towards these peaks. So that could tie in with that idea of actually seeing this retest lower down here before looking to push up one more time. So that would probably tie in more with the other count, where we're looking for that deeper 4th wave. We're treating this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for that 5th. So that would tie in with that idea. Now, looking at this previous weekly that we had here, what we do have is this value area high, which is sitting here towards this 26,940. So even if we did have to come back down here, looking for potential that this could actually be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, I would be keeping an eye on these levels here, which would be this value area high at this 26,940 and this point of control at this 26,745. These could be quite interesting areas if we do move into this level. Now, looking at the monthly range here, what we can see here is that we've actually come up to this value area high. So if we did start to break down, once again, it would be quite interesting to see whether we could get a move back down towards this point of control again, and then possibly even towards this value area low. This would tie in with that idea that this is a WXY, and then we're going to see something like this play out to the downside again. So we're going to keep an eye on that if we do look to move down. Last thing that I want to talk about here is the CPR. So we're talking about coming up towards this S1 or this S2 line yesterday, and we did actually come up towards this S2 line. Now we can see here that we have the central pivots that are just below us here. So the first one here is towards this 27,728. We have this one lower down here, which is sitting towards this 27,412. Now the second one over here would actually tie in with coming back into these peaks. So this is once again another bit of confluence about, you know, possible support coming into these levels. We'll have to see. Obviously these things can't be used in isolation, but they can give us a little bit of an idea. Now if we are looking at this in this way, what we could also argue then is that this week we have the potential to come back up here and retest these zones of this 28,923, 29,785, and this higher line here at this 31,314. So these are the things I'm going to be looking out for. If we start to lose these central lines, this could mean that we actually see a move down towards this R1 line, which is sitting here towards this 26,539, and then we have these lower ones here sitting towards this 25,000 area, and this lower one, this 24,150 zone. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on as the week progresses. Now what we were also discussing here was the monthly pivot points. Looking at these, what we can see here is we did find support on this R1 line, and we have started to move up. So it wouldn't be surprising to actually see us come and interact again with these central CPR lines here, which are sitting between this range here of this 28,958 to this 29,149 area. Now this would tie in with that idea of actually having those additional fourths and fifths in here, looking to bring this into this higher range. This could also tie in with that idea of this being a bigger flat correction from back here, where we could actually see a move up towards this S1 line, towards this 31,173 zone. So if we do see a move with above these, we could actually see a retest of these. However, if we just move back into these, obviously we need to be cautious because there are a few zones within this yellow target box area. We have some naked points of control on the monthly, the daily, we have the golden pocket, and the possibility of some swing failures off of some of these highs here. So we're going to have to be cautious of a move into this 28,601 to this 29,142. This would be an interesting zone to keep an eye on if we do actually move up into this area. Looking at the Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hourly, we can see we've actually broken back above this cloud now, and we could actually look to come back and retest some of these lower zones. Now if we did break back into this cloud, an interesting thing would actually be coming back into these highs, because this would be a retest of the conversion line, which would be this blue line here, which is sitting currently towards this 27,396. So this would be an area I'm keeping an eye on. Obviously there's potential we could find support on the top end of this box, which we could then look to push up one more time for that fifth, and then look to possibly come back and retest this at a later point. On the 8-hourly, we were talking about that possibility of coming back into this high here of this 28,408. So we have come up here. So this is why I'm just being cautious that if this is a corrective move, what we could see here is price could start to get rejected from here, and we could see this move start to break down. So we're going to have to keep an eye and see whether those additional fourths and fifths form, but we need to just be aware of the fact we could face rejection off here. Once again, if I just change this over here to the daily now, we have actually broken back above this cloud. So this is a good sign, but we have also rejected off of the baseline, which was sitting here towards the zone of this 28,419. If we do actually look to reject and come back down here, it would be interesting to see whether we get an interaction with the bottom line here of this cloud, and whether this can continue to hold us as support. If it does continue to hold, this could mean that we could actually start to see bigger moves to the upside developing. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.